I'm getting pretty trouble too. But they won't do that to me because it was. When you cut anywhere, in your what do you call it?
Folks in the